What is he doing on YouTube? Well, I'm trying something new. I'm going to be creating a series, new kind of series called Slightly Productive because you're watching YouTube, but also you're kind of learning something. This is going to be about computer science, all about computer science. And this is kind of like an introduction to Python and formatting your Python code, making it good and acing those exams. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to the first video of Slightly Productive. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to use an IDE, explanation here, and how to use that to program in Python so you can ace your studies or your projects or whatever else you want to do in life. Depending on your experience with computers, installing VS Code is probably the easiest part of using it. You'd want to search up VS Code by Microsoft and just install it for your operating system. If you use Linux, then I love you. If you use Windows, I also love you. But just go ahead and do that and we'll jump into VS Code. Welcome to your maybe first look at Visual Studio Code. This is my favorite IDE and I use it basically all the time, but my school doesn't like it for some reason. Anyways, Visual Studio Code is split into 3 sections. You have the first section, which my mouse is over right now, and that is the workstation. Well, not workstation, but I like to call it the workstation because that's where you edit all of your code. Now on the left part, this is the Explorer, so think of this as like a file finder on your computer. You can create files and you can call them whatever you want. I'll just call it hello.py. I'll explain the stuff about py and .pyw in a bit. I'll explain that. But just know this is a file browser. That's all it is. You can create folders as well. Isn't that cool? You can also change the contents of what's in this left part, and that is by using these icons here. I don't need to go into detail because we're not really going to be using this stuff except for the file explorer. Okay, that's kind of all you need to know. But let's try and get programming something. You may already know this, but when I write code here and run it, that's going to open a terminal window at the bottom and it's going to show me the output of what code I've just ran. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, I'm going to use this simple statement Python has called print. Now what this is a function. What it does, it takes in a string and it prints it out to the terminal. We're going to put a string into it. This is a string. Strings are marked with 2 quotation marks, opening the string with the first quotation mark and closing the string with the second quotation mark. Note that I'm not pre-explaining everything because I think you have some knowledge about Python just before. So let's put in hello world here. Great, we've got our program, but what are we going to do with it? Well, we're going to run it and we're going to see what comes out of it. We want this to say hello world in the terminal. How do we run our program? That's easy. At the top left, we have a run dialog box or box. It's a box and it says run. And you can press start debugging. I'll go into a little bit of detail about what debugging does. But when you get asked to select your debugger, press Python debugger and press Python file. Here at the bottom it will run in the terminal and in a bit, there you go, in a little bit it's going to say hello world, and that's all our program does. Well done. If you've managed to get to this stage without completely breaking your computer and throwing it into a lake somewhere in Narnia or Southeast Asia, then you have done completely fine. And I think you're amazing and you can use Visual Studio Code. You just maybe need to learn about writing your Python code and wait. That's what's going to be happening in my later videos. So now you have a taste of what Visual Studio Code is like and how beautiful it is and how amazing it is to use. I'm sure you're thinking that already. But what is a debugger? I haven't explained that to you. You know how in software where they say, oh, my code has a bug, or there's a bug in this latest version of iOS? That's a problem with that code. And it's not just as easy to run the code and be like, oh, I found the problem, because you need to find specific points in your code where your code is breaking. What a debugger does is it opens all the doors. It tells you everything that's happening about your program so that you can go in there and fix that bug. Hence why it's called debugging. How that works in Visual Studio Code is that when your program encounters a bug, it could be that you didn't close the speech marks on your string, and that made Python think, whoa, this isn't a string, like what's going on here? The debugger would tell you, it would tell you something like that, and you'd instantly get it. You'd be like, it's on line 1 there, I found it, and I can now debug my code and fix that problem. Otherwise, if your code just said, oops, something went wrong, that's not fixing anything. That's not going to help, is it? So that's why debuggers are important. That's what they are. And last thing, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think you've enjoyed. Have you enjoyed this video? Thank you so much for watching. You don't have to subscribe. That's fine. And I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.